Welcome back to the West Georgia Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Taylor. And as always, I'm joined by my father, my co-host, my producer, Mark Taylor. And this is our round 2 wrap-up.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the playoffs round 2. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start off this week's Fan Zone with this question. How much time, Mason, should a new high school head coach be given to succeed or at least show improvement in their program? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years or more? That question thrown out by ITG Next Georgia.
Well, I think it obviously depends on the context, depends on the program, depends on how they've done in those first 2 years, first 2 to 3 years, to be honest with you. Obviously, you have instances where the school doesn't really have too many resources, or the school has not historically been good. Maybe this team has all the resources in the world and they are very good. Maybe the team has been in the same class for 10, 20 years. Maybe they've been throwing around classes in the recent years. So it depends on the context, but I would say generally 2 to 5 years is probably 5 years is kind of pushing it, 4 and 5, but in those first 3 years, if you're not trending upward by that third year or by the end of that third year, it's probably time to kick rocks.
Yeah, and then I think if you are a follower of high school football, I'm not sure if you're following the playoffs, especially how you do not know about this big brawl down in Brunswick against Gainesville. This was a bad one, Mason. We know how it all went down. If anybody's seen the videos, very disturbing. People that you hear from in the stands encouraging this kind of behavior. I've never encountered anything like this personally. I've never been at a school where I've encountered this. But obviously, we've gotten the results of this brawl today as GHSA made the decision, have suspended 39 players from Gainesville. But they actually, in the third quarter, canceled that game, the remainder of the game, when it was 42-0, Gainesville up, and then the brawl started. So they were reviewing by video, making a ruling today. And then, of course, these player suspensions. Talk about how this will make an impact on the quarterfinal that they're going against the number one in the region, Hughes. And do you think that they have enough to even to come and play?
Yeah, the number one team in the class, not the region. But yeah, they having 39 players suspended. And I obviously don't know who they all are, but if they're, I imagine they're going to be starters. So having 39 kids out is not going to be good. They do have an appeal tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. So hopefully they can, in front of the Board of Trustees, hopefully they can try to win their case and have a fair game against Langston Hughes. And this is not one where I think Gainesville should really be punished. I know what the rules say, but Gainesville, according to people online, there was multiple instances where this was building up, and they showed restraint. Even in the video, they showed restraint for the most part until a 6'7" lineman, offensive lineman, who is going to college, play Division I ball, which I'm sure the coaches that whatever school he's committed to, I'm sure they're so ecstatic to see a video of him. But it's just it's ridiculous when you see coaches and referees and players just acting a fool or not acting at all. Referees not stepping in when they should is a terrible thing. Coaches not disciplining their children, not having their players disciplined is not good. Players not having enough discipline or not enough sense. When you're losing 42-0, it's just like the saying goes: when you win, you say little, but when you lose, you say less. And they were losing pretty bad. They shouldn't have been running their mouth. They got their butt hurt, and then it's just a culture. It's just a culture issue with Brunswick School, and it's just a coaching not being disciplined enough to just go out there and just take a whooping like you should. I mean, if you're going to be down 42-0, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And Gainesville, their kids had restraint. It was actually pretty impressive how much restraint they had. But when you see a kid get bulldozed over when he didn't even have a helmet on by someone who's 6'7", 290 to 300 pounds, that's when it all, everything broke loose. So I would not necessarily punish Gainesville in this instance. I know the state probably doesn't agree with me, and I'm sure there are people out there who don't agree with me, but some of these kids, they got to learn to act right. And it starts all with the coaching and parenting as well. Parenting and coaching is where you learn discipline. And if you're not disciplined, then we're going to have a lot more of it could be any school too. private schools, public schools, doesn't matter what. We'll see more instances like this. I mean, even in the Carrollton Douglas County game when they were going to shake hands, a little scuffle broke out. Nothing as serious as this, but it's ridiculous how coaches don't have things under control.
Yep, and we get into your playoffs round 2 predictions. Mason, you had all these right.
Yeah, I did. Bowden over Washington Wilkes, Carrollton over Harrison, Central over Cambridge. Obviously, that was a lot less of a close game than everyone thought. I think everyone in the state agreed with me that Central game was going to be close, and it did not turn out that way. Hurd over Social Circle, Early County over Mount Zion was closer than I suspected. I did say, though, that Mount Zion had a chance to upset. Obviously, they didn't, but they definitely almost had Early County, and then obviously Thomas County Central over Villa Rica. So.
Yep, that's right. All right, we're going to start off with the Bowden Red Devils taking on the Washington Wilkes Tigers.
Yeah, it can be hard to translate regular season success to the playoffs, but Bowden had no problem doing that on Friday. They blew past the Washington Wilkes Tigers 54-24, and considering the Red Devils have won 9 of their 12 games by more than 19 points this season, Friday's blowout was nothing new. Multiple players turned this all performances to lead Bowden to victory, but perhaps none more so than senior quarterback Joshua Hopkins. He rushed for 131 yards, 3 touchdowns on only 10 carries. Also threw for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns while completing 77.8% of his passes. And those 3 rushing touchdowns for him are the most that he's had since the Macon County game earlier this season. He also had sophomore running back Joshua Chandler, who helped out. He racked up 201 rushing yards. And those 2 guys right there were just one part of a punishing run game. Bowden was unstoppable on the ground. They finished the game with, I believe, 335 rushing yards, and that's the most rushing yards that Bowden's managed all season long as a total. And despite the loss, Washington Wilkes still got an impressive performance from their freshman quarterback Mason Mingle, who threw for 288 yards, a pair of touchdowns, completed 72.7% of his passes. He also rushed for 42 yards and a pair of scores. And a healthy portion of Mingle's aerial production, 92 yards actually to be exact, went to senior wide receiver DeMonte Lester. And the victory, which was Bowden's 7th in a row, raised their record to 10-2 on the season. The wins came thanks in part to their offensive performance across that stretch, as they averaged 45.6 points over those games. And as for Washington Wilkes, their defeat not only drops their record down to 5-7, but ends their season. Looking ahead, Bowden will challenge Jenkins County at home on Friday, November 28th, and that matchup will pit 2 of the most dominant Signal callers against one another. For Bowden, obviously senior quarterback Josh Hopkins, and for Jenkins County, it'll be senior quarterback Justin Wright. But this game, it's like I've said time and time again, Bowden has an easy path to the semis. So really, in a second-round matchup like this, you don't expect anything less than Bowden just cruising to a victory. I don't think any team that they are going to face up until the semifinals is going to have enough firepower to really hang in there with Bowden or really stop them. So Bowden really proved me right. I did have Bowden winning 49-13, so by 36 points. It was actually 6 points less than I expected, so 54-24. So I would say just right under the margin, maybe about a touchdown off. But again, this is about what we expected out of Bowden. And again, Bowden's still on that road to their 4th straight state championship, and they are in the quarterfinals now for, I believe, the 4th straight season.
Yeah, well on our way to 4-peat, but you'll have to tune in on Thursday for Mason's predictions on this could maybe be a upset on Friday night. I don't think so, but we'll have to tune in here. All right, and then for the next game, Mason, of course, we were at this game. You were calling this game during halftime, and what a great game. Bigger margin than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Carrollton's already proven themselves in the regular season. They have not missed a beat now that it's playoff time, whether it was North Forsyth or now Harrison. They simply could not be stopped on Friday as they easily beat the Harrison Hoyas 51-6, and the Trojans might be getting used to big wins, seeing as the team has won 11 of their 12 games by 22 points or more this season. Senior running back Cam Wood produced another solid effort. He rushed for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns on only 13 carries. He's been hot. He's posted 2 or more rushing touchdowns in the last 8 games that he's played in. Sophomore wide receiver Rontre Welch was in the mix as well. He provided Carrollton with 2 touchdowns. And they were just, Cam Wood was just one part of a punishing run game. Carrollton was unstoppable on the ground. They finished the game with 228 rushing yards, and that's the most that the team has had since the Douglas County game last year. And the victory keeps Carrollton at an undefeated 12-0. Those wins came thanks in part to their offensive performance across that stretch, as they've averaged 48.7 points this season. As for Harrison, with the loss, not only breaks their 5-game winning streak and moves their record down to 10-2, but it also ends their season. And looking ahead, Carrollton will look to defend their home field on Friday, November 28th against Grayson in a rematch of last year's state championship. The Trojans will need to watch out since the Rams have now posted at least 31 points in their last 8 games. But this one, I definitely think that they're people thought that Harrison, including myself, people thought that Harrison would come in and do a little bit more offensively than they did. And I don't know if it's just because Harrison's offense really wasn't all that, or if Carrollton's defense just shut him down. But either way, Harrison only put up 6 points, couldn't get the 2-point conversion that they got because of a roughing the snapper call on a PAT, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I had Carrollton winning this one 52-24 by 28 points. And again, Carrollton won this one by 45. So Carrollton really blew the doors off of this game a lot more than I had anticipated, and I'm glad because it was very fun to watch, as the Carrollton Trojans are now again against going to be in a game against Grayson on GPB TV next week at Grisham Stadium in the quarterfinals, their 10th straight quarterfinal appearance as they look to make their second straight semifinal appearance, and I think it would be their 4th semifinal appearance under head coach Joey King in his 5 seasons. So Carrollton, again, got a great win here, but they got a lot to look forward to on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Ooh, we'll be there. But I love this score by Harrison because the ball went out the back of the end zone. No one was on it. They called the score, but yet one that they actually got in, they determined wasn't a score. So I have no idea what was
I think it was the third
happening.
down. It was like one play he was laying in the end zone. They said he was short, and then the next play he gets in. The ball is just rolling in the back of the end zone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he got in." So very very confusing officiating these past few weeks for the Carrollton games, and I don't really know where we're getting them from. I know Etowah Valley is always awful, but wherever we're getting them from, they need to step it up.
I'm not sure that entertaining was the right description, but it was something.
Well, they also had so many calls where it's just like roughing the snapper. Like, what?
I've never heard of that.
And then they'd be like, oh, penalty on the defense, and it was a penalty on the offense.
Poor
and it's
guy.
Just like, I don't know. They didn't know what was going on. It would take 20 minutes to deliberate.
Well, we blocked the extra point attempt, and I think that's why they threw the flag. And most of these flags were thrown so late. It's like
and it took forever for them to throw the flag, and then it took them like 20 minutes to deliberate what was going on and where to spot the ball, and it was a mess. And
so then they tried going for 2-point conversion, we shut that down.
Yeah, the officiating is getting old.
Well, you and I may have to go out there. All right, the Cambridge Bears versus the Central Lions.
A playoff win was on the line. The Central Lions rose to the challenge. They simply could not be stopped as they easily beat the Cambridge Bears 64-29. The Lions offense stepped up their game for this one, as that was the most points they've scored all season long. And it's more impressive when you think about that Cambridge is the hardest opponent they faced all season long. Cambridge lost despite a true team effort on offense. The best among them was senior wide receiver Andrew Marsden, who picked up 70 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. The team also got some help courtesy of senior quarterback Connor Langford, who threw for 143 yards and a pair of touchdowns. And you notice a name I didn't mention there, Craig Dandridge, the 4-star senior wide receiver who's going to Georgia. He was shut down all night long, and you love to see it. The victory does keep Central at an undefeated 12-0, and those wins came thanks in part to their offensive performance across that stretch, as they've averaged 46.3 points this season. And as for Cambridge, their loss dropped their record down to 9-3 and ends their season. Central getting their get back from last year. Cambridge beat them in the same round at the same location. Central this time around dominated them in the same round in the same location. And Central, this is their first true quality win. And I know a lot of people might question me on that one and might not like that I'm saying it. But if you think about it, Oxford's not the same Oxford team they had last year, especially with a lot of seniors not being there, including their quarterback, Mason Mims, who's now at Louisville. And other non-region games were not very tough. Their region's really not that tough. I mean, shouldn't have been in the game with Jones. Jonesboro shouldn't have been in the game with them. Tucker really shouldn't have been in the game with them. So first true quality win here for Central, and they did it in dominating fashion. But coming up, Central will hit the road to Savannah to square off against the Benedictine Cadets on Friday, November 28th. And the Lions will need to watch out since the Cadets have now posted at least 31 points in the last 5 contests. But again, Central rolling into it with not only their first quality win, but probably their best win of the season. And so Central rolling in with a lot of momentum on their side and a lot of confidence.
Yeah, Coach Umbre Brown has them playing solid for sure. So that's why we actually chose Jonas Walton for this week's featured player on our cover. All right, and then the social circle Redskins came to Heard County Braves, and wow, this is my team to win it all.
Yeah, with a playoff win on the line, Heard County rose to the challenge. They breezed past Social Circle to the tune of 48-10, and this result was nothing new for the Heard County Braves, who have now won 9 of their 12 games by 20 points or more so far this season. The victory keeps Heard County at an undefeated 12-0 for the first time in school history, and the wins come in thanks part to their defensive effort, having only surrendered 12.3 points on average this season. As for Social Circle, this defeat obviously dropped their record down to 7-5, ends their season. They the Heard County Braves avenged the Haralson County Rebels after that first round performance by Social Circle. But coming up, Heard County will be at home to challenge the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes on Friday, November 28th. And the Purple Hurricanes defense has only allowed 11.4 points per game this season. So Heard County's offense will have their work cut out for them. But Social Circle, it's like Coach Lasser said, they have some guys on that team, some athletes. They got Remy Former, they got Elliott Hamilton, etc., who can go out there and they can cause some trouble. But really, coming into this game, I had Heard County winning this one 45-17. So by 28 points, they beat them by 38 points. Heard County really didn't have too much of a problem. Heard County is just on another level right now in comparison to most of these teams that they've been playing. So I'm not too surprised that Heard County got the win here. But Heard County does have a legitimate opponent this next week in quarterfinal, and I'm not trying to, say that Heard County, I'm not trying to say that this wasn't a good win or that last week wasn't a good win, but they got a real opponent this coming week coming up to Franklin and the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes, a team that recently Heard County's been pretty familiar with. The last time in 2018 when Heard County went to the state championship, they beat Fitzgerald to get there in the semis. So Heard County, they got their work cut out for them this coming week, and I have faith that Shane Lasser will get them prepared for that game, get them ready. But this was a really good win for Heard County, and they're just on a roll right now, and it doesn't seem like there's too many people that can stop them. But Fitzgerald's definitely on the list of teams who can stop them.
Yep. Well, we're still going to break down the Mount Zion game in Villa Rica, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, I want to tell you about our friends at Buzzard's Coffee here in Carrollton, Georgia. They're located on Bradley Street. They're open 7 days a week, and their owners, Bryce and Shay, are an amazing couple with the best staff in town. They're coffee lovers with a big heart for this Carrollton community, and it shows. They're committed also to continuing what that shop does best, and that is to serve high-quality specialty coffee made with love, plus the best ingredients that they can put their hands on, and making Buzzards a place that feels like home every time that you enter. And you can tell them the guys at West Georgia Credit, our podcast, sent you. They'll make sure you get the best brew in town. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to head off now to Mount Zion Eagles taking on the Early County Bobcats. What a trip down to Early County.
Yeah, Blakely, Georgia. If you don't know where that is, you go down to Dothan and you go east across the state border, and that's where Blakely is. And Mount
you
Zion
better get a
Early
map
County,
out. Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Zion Early County squared off. It's a playoff action. Mount Zion had to settle for second. They took a 13-7 hit to the loss column at the hands of the Bobcats, and this was a game, just like the Central game, that I had being close, and I had Mount Zion on upset watch as they could have. I had them, having a possibility to go down there and beat Early County. And I know my prediction doesn't really scream that because I had Early County by 20 points, but this was 7-7 at the half, and Early County just did just enough in the second half to get the win. But this was a defensive battle. And junior quarterback Knox Israel, when he throws for 48 yards on 3 of 8 attempts, that shows you right there, along with the guys I'm about to mention, that this was a defensive battle. Senior wide receiver Xavier Buckner was the top target for Knox Israel, picked up 40 receiving yards, and on the ground, junior Keziah Aki had 41 rushing yards. So nobody that was kind of a highlight for Mount Zion had over 50 yards. And Mount Zion, with this loss, obviously they were so close to a quarterfinal appearance. So the future does look bright for Mount Zion as you go from 3-7 to 8-4. But this was their 4th straight loss on the road, and this was that's really what made my prediction what it was for Early County. Kind because they had not done all 3 of their losses on the season have been on the road, and now they finished the season with all 4 of their losses being on the road. But Early County, the win for them made it 2 in a row, bumps their season record up 9-3 as they will face off against Screven County, the Screven County Gamecocks. Their defense has only allowed 7.9 points per game this season, so
Wow.
Early County, they will have their work cut out for them offensively, and they're definitely going to need a better performance in that game than they did in this one. And this is no shame to Mount Zion, but when you're a top 10 team in Class 1A Division 2, you would expect to roll over a team like Mount Zion. And Mount Zion, you got to give them credit. They fought, and they fought hard. They had them by the throat, just like Carrollton County did on Social Circle, just like Villa Rica had on Northgate earlier in the season, just like we've seen so often in this season. But obviously could not pull out the win. And it's a sad way to go out for the seniors and for the team as a whole. But Mount Zion definitely didn't go out without a fight. They definitely went down swinging, and that's all you can really ask of a team like that.
Well, congratulations, young men, on a fantastic turnaround of a season, coming back this year and getting this far and doing so well. So we're going to head on for our last game that we're covering this week. The Villa Rica Wildcats went all the way down another road trip that I would have never wanted to take it, but Thomas County Central Yellowjackets, 36 miles north of Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah, and just you go north of Tallahassee or you go down to Valdosta and you go west. It's almost like if you were to go west from Valdosta and north from Tallahassee, it's almost like where they would meet, intersect right there. But Villa Rica, Thomas County Central, they squared off. Villa Rica obviously had to settle for second, just like Mount Zion did, and they took a blow to the loss column against the Yellowjackets. They fell 55-14. I had this one being 56-10, so I was pretty close. I was only 5 points off for the margin. But well, I mean, again, Thomas County Central came in ranked, I think, number 1 in 5A according to GPB. Other rankings have them at least in the top 5, if not top 3, for just about every ranking. So again, this is not one that defines Villa Rica's season by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the nature of the beast. You go down there and you get a tough pull like that. But Thomas County Central, they had a true team effort in this game. Many players turned in solid performances. Perhaps the best among them was sophomore running back Jordan McNeil, who rushed for 84 yards and a touchdown, also caught a touchdown, and he was no stranger to the big play. He turned on the Jets for a run that went for 69 yards. Three-star senior running back Christian Lawrence was also in the mix. He provided Thomas County Central with 2 touchdowns, and obviously with the loss, it breaks Villa Rica's 3-game winning streak, as well as ending their season at 6-6. So at least they didn't have a losing record, which I think, again, is a testament to how they fought in the back half of this season. But for Thomas County Central, obviously they're now 12-0, and that's another thing. It's just like you don't want to lose, but there's not a single team this season that has been able to say if they can beat Thomas County Central. So it's not a surprising outcome. But for Thomas County Central, they will challenge Woodward Academy at home next week, or I guess this week. And the 2 teams have allowed few points on average. The Yellowjackets of Thomas County Central have only allowed 8.4 points per game. The War Eagles of Woodward Academy only 13.3. So any points scored will be well earned. That's a rematch of the state championship in 6A 2 years ago in 2023. But in this game, again, Villa Rica, it's a tough way to go out for the seniors. It's really a tough way for all of them to go out. But it was a roller coaster. They lost the first 3 games, then they won the next 3 games, and they lost 2 games, and they won 3 games, and then they ended with a loss here. So it was just a roller coaster of a year for Villa Rica. But at least they can say they made it to the second round. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can't even say they can make it to the second round, much less there's a lot of teams that can't even say they can make it to the playoffs. So, Villa Rica has nothing to be ashamed of. You got to keep building that program, got to keep working. But again, Thomas County Central is just another animal. They're on another level, and it showed it here. And I'm just glad that Thomas County Central didn't do what they did to Woodstock, didn't put up a 70 bomb on Villa Rica. I'm glad they kept it. I don't know if Villa Rica kept it that way or if Thomas County Central did, but I'm glad they kept it somewhat respectable at a 55 bomb.
Yeah, that's right. And they're headed in the right direction. They can just build on this. And going into next year, I did immediately after the game text Coach Barron congratulating him on this season. And I know he's proud of those boys. It's hard to believe that we're actually going into quarterfinals week, right, Mason? Is this really happening? We've got 3 games left. And wow. tune in to Thursday's Mason's weekly pregame analysis predictions, where he's going to dive in. He's going to break it all down, key plays, key players, and tell you exactly what it's going to take to win. And if you don't, why you lose. But we've only got how many teams going into quarterfinals?
We have 4. But
Four.
and that's probably the only thing I don't like about the playoffs is that, you don't get to see every team going out there and playing. But the thing I love about playoff time, and especially as you start getting into the quarterfinals and beyond, you see some of the best football you're going to see in the whole country. Because Georgia is one of the best high school football states in the country. I don't think anybody's going to debate with me on that, and they don't want to. But this is the best time of year for football. We get to see some of the best matchups between some of the best teams, and I'm all for it. And I'm glad that we have 4 teams that can say that they are in the run for a state championship this season. You love to see that 4 out of the 9 teams that we cover are in a spot like that.
Well, I look forward to your analysis on those games. And as always, follows and shares all those social media pages and groups where you follow high school football, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, watch us on YouTube channel. And until we see you on Thursday, enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. We'll see you that night. We'll be posting that episode, and then look forward to Friday's quarterfinal games. Everybody have a great week.